One thing you can do in Adobe Audition is you can open up a Adobe Premiere project file without any sort of issue, usually. So let's open up Audition and open up that Edit in Audition file, or Adobe, or whatever, whichever one I had. And this Edit in Audition Premiere project file, you can open that up, and hopefully it's going to open. I've had problems with this. So then what you can do is, so this might be your original video, and you can add some tracks here. So you can add some sound effects and anything that you might find to be interesting to add to your overall sound mix. And then you want to mix, use the mixer to make sure that everything mixes okay. And then what I'm going to do is, so there's two ways that you can export this file so you can edit to video. So the first way is just a little bit more confusing. It's a little bit more touchy. But you go to Export and then Export to Adobe Premiere Pro. And so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure I name it correctly. So I didn't name it correctly last time. So make sure that it saves as an XML file. And so the XML file, I'm going to title it Open This Dummy. Because I've been messing this up. So this saves it as an XML file, which can be opened up in Adobe Premiere file. So you also want to choose Open Adobe Premiere and then hit Export. And then you go to Adobe Premiere. You go to Open Project. So it should have opened Adobe Premiere, but I don't know why I didn't do that. And then I will open up that, open this dummy XML. And see what happens. It exports all of your tracks separately, and it lines them up very, very nicely. So if for some reason you realize, okay, well, so you might play your video, but also just notice that your video isn't there. So what you have to do is you have to import your video back in there. But your audio should play fine, and then if you need to make any just subtle adjustments to any of the other tracks in your mix, you can still do that. So it's not completely, you don't have to constantly go back and forth between Premiere and Audition. You can just make those little subtle adjustments there. The other way that you can do it is, I'm going to close this. The other way that you can do it is you can just export the whole thing as a multi-track mix down. And so you mix the entire session. You want to make sure that everything is the way that it's supposed to be. And then I'm going to write Open This Dummy. And so notice that it's going to save as a WAV file and not the XML file. Okay, so then when you open up Premiere, you open up a new project. I'm just going to write, okay. And then you import it. And you'll have to remember the name of the file. Open This Dummy Mixdown. Okay, so that's different. So it's a WAV file versus an XML file. But notice what happens here is that if I drag that onto the timeline. So if you drag that onto the timeline, just notice it just comes as one solid track. So you can't make any final adjustments if you export the whole thing as a mixdown. So hopefully that'll be clear. But also notice that your video isn't there. So those are important to remember. Okay, finally, let's look at let's do the automatic dialogue replacement. And I think that's lesson 12. I think it's lesson 12. Yeah. So anytime you have, so this is vocal alignment, anytime you have your audio, you're going to have your original vocal, and then you're going to have the one that's recorded in the studio. So just remember that you're always going to have two of them here. All right. And so what you'll do is you'll kind of marquee around this. Okay? Or you can just command click both of them. All right. And so they might not be matched up perfectly now, but what happens is when you use this vocal alignment, you right click or you hit option click and you go to automatic speech alignment. And so your original clip, like that's what you want it to line up with, go to original vocal. And then you can choose smoothest stretching. So I'm going to do that one first. And just notice that it will create that, and so you can see if that one worked. Or I'm going to command click and use, you can go tightest alignment. So notice that it creates another one. So you can just compare those and see which one works. So there's 3 choices, but you have to make sure that you have the original and then the one that you recorded in the studio. Both of those should be selected, and then you just, whoops, go to automatic speech alignment, and the third one was the balance, alignment, and stretching. So it always replaces, it always pulls in an additional track. So you just kind of choose which one works with your video best, which one sounds the best. And then what you'll do, obviously, is you'll want to delete the other ones. And then eventually, when you have video, you'll line it up in Adobe Premiere with that original.